G'day folks, and welcome back to the channel for part number 27 of my Beginner's Fire Pets Cabalist playthrough. And this is going to be the final episode on this character. Now, this is actually the third time I've recorded this episode, and let me explain why, and also how, because I don't mention this very often, but I do actually take copies of this character at the end of each of my episodes. Not so as I can revive dead hardcore characters. Anyone who's watched a few of my other series know that those characters die and then stay dead. It's in case there's any kind of recording episodes or something happens while I'm recording and I just decide, you know what, I can't show that, I can't do that sort of thing, and I have to start again. That's what's happened here. And this one's not so much a I can't do that, I can't show that, it's none of that. It's more like I wasn't happy with it. So the first time through, I played through Forgotten Gods, and I got to the gates of I got to the Tomb of the Eldritch Sun Rift. And I said, okay, I'm feeling really squishy. I think I had 11,800 hit points or something like that. I'm feeling really squishy. There's no benefit for killing Korvac. I'm just going to tell everyone, okay, we're skipping Korvac. Fighting him is silly when we're this squishy, and there's no benefit for it anyway. So let's just go and run through all the different farming locations and tell people, go get some gear, come back, stomp Korvac once you have the gear. And when I finished that episode, it didn't sit right with me. So I figured, no, that's not right. Let's do it again. And so I rolled the character back to the beginning of the end of the previous episode, and I went through it all again. And I went through and I actually killed Korvac, and I ended that episode. And again, it just kind of didn't feel right. So what I've done, I've kept the footage for the kill for Korvac, which I'll edit in at the end of this little intro, and you can watch the fight. But I've decided that this is going to be a kind of a summary of where to go from here, and not so much content, because I really didn't like the first two, so I'm just cutting them out. Now, like I said, I'm going to show the actual Korvac kill, and assuming I don't forget to edit it, that's going to go kind of here-ish. Actually, let's chuck it in right now, and I'll come back to you in a second. Alrighty, and we have made it to Korvac. Now, if you've been playing along up to this point, then you'll know what I was saying about health. But the other things you want to check out are, one, you want to look at your armor. This is not great, but it's probably fine. Two, make sure all of your resistances are maxed. That's maxed. I'm bad at pushing that button. So make sure all of your resistances are maxed. I think the only type of damage that Korvac doesn't do in one of his favors or another, I think, is Vitality. I would have to go check, but I think Vitality is the only one he doesn't do. You will need max everything resistance. If you can get more physical res than I have, then great. More is better. And that's about it, really. Stun resist is always good to have some of. Obviously, I don't have heaps of it. But this should be fine. Make sure you don't have any skills that have red points in them. If they're red, it means you are over the hard cap and you have skills doing nothing. Spend all your attribute points, and other than that, we should just be able to go in and kill him. Now, I am not tanky, but what I am is very, very ganky. As far as leveling characters go, this is pretty good damage. So what we should be able to do is we stand right next to him, we get all of the boys. When he drops down, I'm going to tell them to go here, or as soon as they start attacking, I'm going to tell them to go here. And then they're all going to be in one spot to just blow him up. There we go, they're all attacking now. So here we go. So I'm going to concentrate mostly on staying out of range, because otherwise he'll do that, and I'll take a decent chunk of damage. If he could stop running around, that'd be great. And I'm just going to, like I said, concentrate on staying out of his range as much as I can. Here we go, second phase. I think this phase he starts doing a lot more lightning damage. But yeah, we just kill him, honestly. And if I could get him to stay in one spot, that would be ideal. Okay, didn't quite kill him before the rifts started opening up. But that's alright, we're going to murder everything to death, including him, and it's just kind of gonna be fine. Okay, final phase here. So this is where you start spitting fire out of all of the pylons, the pillars, and you do want to kind of... I mean, ideally, if you can stay still, then you'll take a lot less damage from this. And I do want to stay a little bit out of range, although ideally I don't want to have him dash to me and just one-shot me. Which has totally never happened before, I swear. Alright, let's dodge that attack. And that's the end of Korvac. Okay, so that was the Korvac kill, and you can see at the end there, I used the cluster. I don't think I actually needed the cluster. I don't think it did anything at all. But I've figured, you know, he's almost dead. I've used a couple of my heals. Let's just lock this in. So it wasn't the best showcase of the build, but it kind of showed if you can keep his attention on the pets, then all you have to worry about is kind of environmental damage. But if he had decided that he was going to rush me and then do a follow-up attack, I probably would have just got one shot. So I wasn't happy with it. And I am going to tell you, if you're at this point in your playthrough, you know, 90-something, you've got, let's say, 11 to 14,000 hit points. Let's say you've got way better gear than I do. There's no benefit to fighting Korvac, and the risk of one-shots is quite high. So I'm going to say instead, don't fight him. Go farm totems, or if you have other characters, when you get to level 94, throw all your fancy legendary items on and just go stomp him. Alright, with that said, there are 3 kind of builds with this character that are pet builds that I'm going to recommend. Now, if you've watched a lot of the stuff on my channel, you already know 2 of them. One is Vitality Pets Cabalist, one is a Chaos Damage Pets Cabalist, and the third one is a Lightning Pets Cabalist. Now, this guy, I had always intended him to be the Lightning version. So let's go through it. Actually, before I do that, this is the loot from Korvac. He dropped me the Mythical Adversary, the Pummeler, and Ludragan's Mark. So that was my Korvac loot. And then for turning in the quest, I got Gildor's Pulverizer there. So basically, rubbish loot that I'm just going to sell. Right, so 3 builds, and there are other builds for sure, and there are other builds that do similar things that don't use the Lost Souls set. However, Lost Souls set fits a pet Cabalist like a glove, basically. All of the bonuses for it are focused on the Hellhound, which means you need the Occultist, and Skeletons, which means you need Necromancer, and you're not really going to do much else because you just don't have the points for it. So I'm going to recommend the Lost Souls set. There are other builds, as I said, but these are what I'm going to recommend. Now, for any of the builds I just recommended, you will also need some of this stuff. I have jumped onto my main save file with all of the loot that comes with that, just because I'm pretty much done with this character. This is my 5th or 6th level 100 pet Cabalist, and if I'm being honest, I'd rather play Force Wave. So, anyway, getting back to the builds. These are the items you're going to need. We'll start with the Lightning one, because I haven't shown this one on the channel yet, and this is what I'm going to eventually turn this guy into. I'll do it off screen and then post a build guide for it at some point, but for now, this is what we've got. So, you need a Stormbringer of Malmoth. The great thing about this is that it's crafted. The not so great thing about this is it needs a monster infrequent item that is not particularly rare, but if you haven't been hanging on to it, it's going to take you a little while to actually find it. So let's type in Stormbringer, and you can see here it needs an Enslaved Wraith. Now I collected a few of these. I think I had 5 or 6 of them, and I crafted 5 or 6, however many it was, of these books, and then I threw all of them on the floor except for this one, because this was the only one that came with 100% Vitality and Chaos converted to lightning damage. So you're going to have to craft more than one of these to get the full conversion. If you get one that's like 95 and 97 or something like that, if it's close, it's kind of okay. So you'll need the book. So this will get your Vitality and your Chaos converted to lightning. Then you'll need this one. This is less important because this has acid converted to lightning. I pulled this out of the stash. This is a drop. It's not particularly rare, but it's not super common either. And the only stat we really care about here is 100% acid to lightning damage conversion. Everything else is kind of whatever, but you want to get that acid fully converted to lightning so as you can use the Blight Fiend in order to tank properly and still have him doing... Well, he's not going to be full lightning. Actually, he should be full lightning. Yeah, so full lightning damage instead of, you know, mostly lightning, partial acid, etc. And then this is the hard part. The rings for all three of these builds are going to be a pain because you need two of them for all three of these conversions, or the build kind of doesn't work. So the Glyph of Kelfat Zoth is the lightning conversion ring. You get between, I think it's 40 and 60%, it might be 30 and 60% conversion on each of the rings, so you have to have two of them, otherwise you can't get the conversion. These all, as far as I know, have blueprints. Actually, I'm staring at the blueprints, so let's just have a look here. So, Kelfat Zoth, did I spell that wrong? Yep, there we go, we can craft that one. As long as you have the blueprint. This one does not come from the Malmoth Resistance like the book does. This one's a drop. So if you're looking for blueprints and you're playing your first character, I recommend farming Nemesis Troves, as well as your totems, but specifically targeting Nemesis Troves to get the blueprints is what I would recommend. If you can do Shattered Realm 20 on Ultimate in less than, well, let's say 2021, because you'll have to do 2 different shards. If you can do both of those in under 10 minutes, then I would say skip totems and just farm Shattered Realm. If you can't, then ignore Shattered Realm. It's not efficient until you have a finished build, basically. Or until you can do Shattered Realm 20 and 21 in under about 10 minutes. Those aren't exact numbers. Like if you finish in 9 minutes 50, I'd probably still go with totems. But if you finish in like 6 minutes, which some of the very fastest builds do, then that's going to be way better than totems. It's kind of a feel thing. I don't think anyone's done any testing since the, or basically I couldn't find any inside the last 3 years. So old data, but it kind of feels like about Shattered Realm 20 on Ultimate is about the same amount of loot as totems. So if you can't do that and do it quickly without much risk of dying, totems are the way to go. And Nemesis Troves if you want blueprints. Let's go ahead and see. Do Spirit Binder. Is that 2 words? That is 1 word. Okay. No blueprint, or at least I don't have it. I'm pretty sure I have all of the blueprints though. So Spirit Binder Glyph, no crafting. Let's just try a different one. Nope. Okay. So Spirit Binder Glyphs are going to be drop only. I had thought there was a blueprint for those, but unless I'm spelling things wrong. Yeah, it looks like it's only the lightning rings that have a blueprint. And you will need 2 of them, so lightning may be the way to go because this is effectively free, and these are craftable, and then this is kind of semi-common. I'm not going to say it's common because it isn't, but it's kind of semi-common. So that's the lightning stuff, and you'll need other stuff as well. The Lost Souls set would be one thing you would want. You probably want yourself some mythical fiend flesh greaves. Touch of the Everliving Grove is an okay choice. Goal's gloves would also be okay. There's a few options here. Chest, you want the Fiend Master's raiment. Pants, you want probably the Wildshawn pants, or perhaps a really good set of Bismail pants. Do I have the Wildshawn stuff? Nope. A bunch of these gloves, though. I don't know why I'm keeping those. Right. So that's what you want for pants. Your belt, you want the Voidmancers there. You actually want a really good Wendigo Gaze on all 3 of these. Unless you're going to go for the super tanky version, then you might want something with a death save on it. I'm blanking on the name of it right now. But there's a couple of medals that have circuit breakers on them. They might be a better choice for you. Okay, for Vitality, and Vitality is the old default because the Lost Souls set used to have a vitality conversion on it, the default for pet Cabalists was vitality. It's not anymore. You can do honestly whatever you like. You don't even need to use Lost Souls. But this is the vitality stuff, and to get a vitality Cabalist going, you will need the Bone Scavenger's Death Grips here. This will provide you with your physical and acid conversion, and then you will also need 2 Spirit Binder Glyphs for your elemental to vitality damage conversion. You are missing out on chaos conversion with this build, so your Hellhound will still be doing chaos damage, but the majority of your damage will be converted to vitality for your pets. So you will need 2 of these and the gloves to do vitality. And then for chaos, similar idea. You've got physical and elemental conversion to chaos here. And then on the rings, you have got vitality to chaos. So this gets you most, if not all, depending on how you roll on your conversion here, all except for the acid converted. And then you could, I mean, this doesn't really seem much point, but this is what you need. So for each of the 3 damage types, you basically need 2 rings and an item, whether that's gloves or an offhand. The belt is, it's not required, but it's a really good choice for the lightning build. And there isn't really a belt that has conversion. There isn't an easy way to convert the acid for vitality or chaos. The Bone Scavenger's Death Grips here, 60% is the max acid conversion you're going to get. So ideally, you want 100% Fizz to Vitality and 60% Acid to Vitality, but yeah, you're not going to get all of that. So that's the first thing. While I'm running through the farming routes that I like to use, keep an eye out for any of these items, and also any just generic pet stuff. So if you happen to find the Wild Shorn leggings, they are great for beginner pet builds. Because it's a legendary item, you don't have to worry about prefix or suffixes. It just works. So just chuck them on and you're good to go. There are a few other pet pants as well. Like I'm looking at the Mythical Rune brand leg wraps on my other screen. And they have all damage, offensive ability, a couple of resistances for your pets. But just keep an eye out for that sort of stuff. And once you have 2 of these rings and these items here, you can immediately swap. You don't need the Lost Souls set, although you will almost certainly have the Lost Souls set, the full set, before you get 2 of any of these rings. So mostly you're waiting on the rings. Then after that, if we go into devotions here, there's 2 ways to play all 3 of those. The first way is you go for Mogdrogan the Wolf, and you just focus on all-out damage, kill stuff as fast as you can, and then dead things don't hurt me. This is my preferred playstyle. I will show you the Chaos version later on that has been set up for survivability, and it can kind of almost face tank Ravager. I say kind of almost because when he goes berserk, you do have to disengage maybe once or twice to get your cooldowns back while the pets keep beating on him. So you can't literally face tank him from full health on that Cabalist, but you can take an enormous amount of punishment. And the pets don't kill things too much slower. They do kill it slower, but it's not too bad. So yeah, you've got this setup, which is full damage, and then you've got another setup, which takes Ishtak and maybe Tree of Life, but this is kind of whatever. It's mostly about Ishtak here. This is the more defensive setup. You can't really get Ishtak and Mogdrogan and get your resistance shredding and get pet resistances down here and get... There's just too much. You have to choose. Are you going offensive or defensive? So I will show you those in a bit. Actually, I'll show that now, and then I'll go through the farming. So I have previous Cabalists. Where are they? Here we go. It's Bone Patrol. This is the Vitality Cabalist that I made. And the basic idea, here's the gear. So Fiend Flesh Greaves are pretty standard across most pet Cabalists. The Bone Scavenger's Death Grips here. Oh, actually, it looks like the... Oh no, it's 100%. Yeah, that's fine. Spirit Binder Glyphs, 2 of those. Beacon of Lost Souls, the rest of the full set, so the weapon, the mask, the shoulders, and the amulet. I've got a Houndmasters of Binding here. This took me about 7 hours of vendor farming. Don't recommend doing that anymore. Just go farm it from the 2 bosses in the City of Mammoth. And honestly, just get a Houndmasters of something pet related, and it's good enough. Getting a triple rare like this is probably not worth the effort required. Same deal here with the Cabalists of Cage Souls. Cabalist as a prefix gives you +2 to Call of the Grave, +2 to Manipulation, and probably some resistances or something. It's good, but Wanderers would be fine. Any kind of pet prefix would probably be okay, if not even better. I like this because it took me forever to get it. Multiple months worth of on-again, off-again farming to get this to drop. But just a Wendigo Gaze of Cage Souls. The of Cage Souls is going to give you 3 to raise skeletons, so you definitely want that. Wild Shorn Leg Guards, like I mentioned, really good pants. They're just generically good for pet Cabalists. So if you don't have a really good set of Bismail Sect Leg Guards, just use these and you'll be fine. Same deal with the Shadow Fiend's Cord here. It is a blue item, but it gives you enough skill points that you really don't want to use anything else here. Anything you would trade for this belt is going to give you issues with skills because Cabalist, well, pet builds in general, are incredibly tight on skill points. And then Mogdragon's Ardor because +1 to all skills with some resistances and damage for your pets. That's it. So that's the gear. This is the skill tree. There is not enough points to max out the bird, but we do want the elemental damage here that we can convert. Also the resistances, nice stuff. Mend Flesh, I have on this build because we're not using the bird to kill stuff. This is a support bird, so having the heal for the pets occasionally helps. It probably occasionally helps for the player as well. Blood of Dreeg, because Blood of Dreeg. If you're using Occultist and don't have Blood of Dreeg, you're doing it wrong. Same with Curse of Frailty. Literally, if you have Occultist and you don't have Curse, then yeah, you're doing it wrong. And then Manipulation, this is an aura. 20% total speed for your pets is probably the largest damage steroid you're going to get, except for maybe the Mogdragon's Howl, I think it's called. And then full points into the Hellhound, missing 1 on Hellfire, and a few more on Infernal Breath wouldn't be horrible. This gives you your reduced target's damage, which is nice to have. Over here on Necromancer, we've got Master of Death as our exclusive skill. 17 points in Reap Spirit. I can't remember what it is, but 17 is a breakpoint. I think it's 17 gets you a second spirit, and then 24 or 25 gets you a third one. I forget exactly what it is, but 17 is one of the breakpoints for this, so that's why that's there. We have Bone Harvest for a Devotion procer, and also because Soul Harvest gives us a bunch of flat damage. 26 or 16 for Skeletons, because they are the second main pet, or the actual main pet for this build. 20 of 12 here on Undead Legion, because any more just gives you 0.2 second skill recast, which is irrelevant. And then Will of the Crypt, more is better, but 20 is where I ran out of skill points for it. So that's where I am. I have enough health here that I didn't feel the need for Spectral Binding at this point. The only thing that Spectral Binding provides for us is health. Aether damage, we don't hit things, it doesn't matter. Offensive ability, we don't hit things, it doesn't matter. I mean, we do cast spells at them, but if our 20 damage spell crits and does 22 damage, who cares? So the only thing on this that matters is the health. And Spectral Wrath would be nice, but anything that we would want to trigger this on, so like any Nemesis bosses or bosses in the Shattered Realm or whatever, anything we would want to trigger this on, we don't want to get hit by. So there's no point. And for anything that we don't care about getting hit by, it's already going to die in 2 arrows from our skeletons. So again, there's no point. Devotion-wise, this is the full damage version. Vitality, so we've taken Ratosh. Mogdragon, because Mogdragon. These are all just generically good pets things. This is mostly for pet resistances. We've got Bismail's command here, this has our, is it type C? The non-stacking resistance shredding on the pet there. I've got goals because that's kind of, I needed red and green and I didn't have a defensive devotion. So we have got Giant's Blood on Behemoth. That is our only defensive thing on this build. And then we just got, generic pet stuff here, a little bit of extra damage, and stats and things. So that's kind of this one. I'll jump on over to the Chaos version. I've gone with the same drip for them. I really like that set for the Cabalist. I don't know why. All right, so this is the more defensive Chaos version. You can absolutely swap out the Reaper of the Accursed here. This has got a Defy Death proc on it, and just generic pet stuff, so any offhand with +1 to Necro skills would work just as well. But this one has a Circuit Breaker on it, Defy Death there. We have, again, we've got the Void Whisper bands for our conversion. And what was the other Chaos item? Oh, there was a book as well. This is just converting Vitality to Chaos, Vitality to Chaos. Not horrible. That's fine. Why do I feel like I'm missing something? I'm missing that book, aren't I? The Fiend Gaze Tome. Okay, so this one doesn't actually have full conversion. I swapped that out for the Reaper of the Accursed here. Yeah, so just swap that over if you need to get some more damage. Mark of Unlife here for another Circuit Breaker. This one just called Unlife. Gives you a bunch of health back, some resistances when you get low. Then we have the full Beacon of Lost Souls set. So again, weapon, helmet, amulet, and shoulders. The Necrolord Shroud and the Wildshorn leg guards. And then also the Fiendflesh Greaves. These are kind of standard for all of them. Same with the Shadow Fiend's Cord, so all 4 of these are going to be good for all of them. Mogdrogan's Ardor again. Mythical Mark of Unlife. You could also, if you're feeling ridiculously tanky, you could take this off and put on the Wendigo Eye, or Wendigo Gaze, I think it was, from the previous build. And same with the gloves here. If you don't like these, there's a bunch of pet gloves you can use. They're all fairly interchangeable. This one does provide a decent health, a decent heal rather, on a shortish cooldown. And then we've got largely the same skill points, except this time we are getting 30% Fizz to Chaos conversion from Consecrated Blade on Soleil's Witchfire. More points in this would be better for our pets to do more damage, but this is a very defensive build. I can't remember the last time I actually saw Blood of Dreeg on a build that's maxed out, but more heal, more regen, good stuff. Over on Necro, we've got the pets. This one is missing a point in Raised Skeletons. It is what it is. We've got Ill Omen here for the reduced target's damage. Pretty chunky Blight Fiend compared to the other ones. This one crucially has a high enough level in Rotting Fumes here that, hang on a sec, where is it? I thought that was supposed to say Taunt. Anyway, this says generates additional threat. I was pretty sure this said Taunt at 17. Maybe this has changed since I made it, but I would have swore 17 of 12 was all you needed on Rotting Fumes, and this would then allow the Blight Fiend to taunt instead of generating additional threat. Something's changed, or I'm misremembering. Master of Death is the exclusive, although you could definitely argue for possession here for the damage absorption, since this is supposed to be a defensive build. Probably could even just face tank the Ravager with this if I swap that over. Less damage, but you still want it, and this one just provides more health for the pets. The point of this build is to not have to resummon your pets pretty much ever. You will very occasionally have to resummon a couple of skellies if you're fighting a Celestial or if you're fairly deep into Shattered Realm. Okay, so that's the Chaos version and the Vitality version, and I actually haven't made... I have too many characters. I haven't made the Lightning version yet. So let's just do a quick run through of the farming route for this character, and I'm just going to not use these just yet. We will stay with fire for now, because I I'd have to take the Widow here, and Arcane Bomb is level 1, so basically useless, and I'm not redoing my devotions in the middle of recording. So, this is what I recommend when you get to 90 plus, when you decide you've had enough of Forgotten Gods or whatever. I recommend the Gloomwald. Surprise, nobody saw this coming. The Gloomwald, in my opinion, is the most efficient place to farm until you can do Shattered Realm 20 on Ultimate Difficulty, 20 and 21, in under about 10 minutes. You do want to keep an eye on your bits. So I've got almost 5 million bits, and I have a stash full of iron bars, so I don't care about rares anymore. Monster and Frequents, you probably leave those on, but I'm going to leave most of them on the floor because I don't need the bits, and I'm not really too interested in most of them. So, first thing to check here, Treasure Trove. How am I doing for Dynamite? Yep, that's enough. You will now get 2 rare crafting components from every Treasure Trove you blow up. So I definitely recommend hitting those. Mage Slayer, I don't need that. Actually, I will keep it because I want to show transmuting at some point. Maybe. Go ahead and laugh at me in the comments when I talk all about transmuting now and then never show it. Then I come up here and I'm checking for Pakla and... well, there's Pakla. The other thing I'm checking for up here is one of the 3 Wendigo heroes, which I'm sure we'll run into at the shack down the road. There we go, is Blighted of Stilael's Malice, which is poison, and then Chaos on a vitality item. So, you know what, that'll sell for a decent amount. We'll sell that. Just a reminder to whoever needs to hear it, an item is not good because it's a triple rare. It has to have matching affixes on to the Monster and Frequent base. If you have a cold prefix and a vitality suffix on a pet item, it's garbage. So next stop is the Decrepit Cellar. I'm checking here for the Treasure Trove, I'm checking here for the Ancient Spirit Totem. We are of course going to do both of them. 2 more rare crafting materials, Manticore Eyes for days here. 2 of those so far, pretty happy with that. You can, if you are so inclined, just pop this and run away, and these guys will fight with the totem. They will lose horribly, but it is amusing to have the NPCs fight each other occasionally. Very good chance you're going to get a couple of Aether Enchanted, or what are they called? Corrupted. You're going to get a couple of corrupted enemies out of this. Almost always. Seems I've picked the only time they didn't come out to play. But you are almost always going to get a corrupted enemy here. Infernal Brimstone. Oh, that's that 2-handed mace. Yeah. Okay, we'll leave those on the floor. So yeah, just be careful where you're standing when you fight that totem. The only other thing of note here is Avarice. Avarice will be here, or she will be in the other cellar. And we'll go say hi to her in a bit. She, at least according to Grimtals, is a good source of the Monster and Frequent you will need to make the lightning rings. Sorry, it's the lightning tome, not the rings. I've never seen her drop one that I can think of, but at least allegedly, according to Grimtools, she can drop them. More importantly, though, she just drops loot. Just loot in general. Alright, this is the next area we want to check. There's always something good here. Now, looks like I've only got one hero, but you can have, I think 7 is the most I've seen here. Pack of 3 Wendigos, Pakla, the Quest Wendigo, and then in this house you can have a couple more heroes as well. So, really good spawn location for heroes. Just here, same. You're not going to get 7 here. You might get 2 or 3. And same here as well. You can get the big tree monsters, the tree golems, can spawn there. Totem can be right here. Also, I forgot to point out the first place where you can find the totem. The first place is way back here at the start. So, ooh, Nemesis with Beast, lovely. So just here is where the treasure trove was, and just here is where the totem can be. You can also get a treasure trove right about here. Alright, we can now get Chupacabra, and he's going to pop up at some point. He always does. Here's my quest Wendigo. Fully expecting Chupacabra to jump out from behind every tree at this point. Just here is the final location where you can get a treasure trove. So if you haven't got your treasure trove by the time you get here, you missed it, go back. The other thing to note is this is where I generally stop. I don't usually run up here because it's a decent amount of running, and I'd rather start a new run where I know there are 2 more treasure troves and at least 1 totem. But that's alright, we'll go up here. This is the last location where you can have the totem spawn. As I said though, I don't generally come this far. I will usually get to Chaos Corner, or whatever this area is supposed to be called. This spot here is another spot where you can have a ton of heroes spawn. I've definitely had 5 there before, and potentially you can have more, I'm sure. Oh, we got a crab. I'm shocked he didn't spawn Chupacabra. I'm actually thinking, or trying to think if I even want to bother with Chupacabra at this point. Probably it would be fine, but we'll see. This area here, if you didn't get the totem in the first underground area, it'll be here. There's Avarice, you can see the skull there. She's just hanging out. There we go, level 103 at the moment. Let's go kill her. Avarice is decently ganky, so you do want to respect her. If her friends are around, they can heal her. She also can probably heal herself. But I have been one-shot by her a couple of times before. So show her a little bit of respect. Oh, look, it's Perdition. That doesn't drop all the time until you need it, and then it doesn't exist. Alright, so be careful with her. And I only come in here for the totem. After the Gloomwald, the next best place to farm is the Sorrow's Bastion / Bloodgrove. So you want to come over here. We're checking for this totem here. You do sometimes have to get decently close before it'll show up. It doesn't look like this one's going to be there. So I'm going to stop here. And we'll go check out the Bloodgrove. Do I get this one? Nope. Okay. So that one back there shares a spawn location with, pretty sure it's here, and then behind the waterfall. This one here shares a spawn location somewhere down here along this edge, and also way over here on this edge. I don't recommend going into the Bloodgrove unless this one spawns, and then you just run down, grab it, rift back. Okay. So this one here, and looks like we've got the best spawn. I guess the best spawn would be to get this one and then these 2. So this one is the first one we checked, or behind the secret waterfall. Generally speaking, if it's not here or at the first place we checked, I skip it. I don't usually... Wedge of Sanity. It's good for another character. I don't usually run behind the waterfall. It's just way too far to run for one totem, especially since it's going to be a regular, I think. Maybe Forsaken, but I'm pretty sure it's just a regular Void Touch totem. Alright, let's pop this one. Please kill the Arcane. Thank you. Okay, Greaves of Ill Omens. So, nothing too fancy here. This totem here shares a spawn location here, or up here in the village, right up there. So again, this is the best one to get for this, and then this is the best one to get for the other set. So then you have the third location, and this one actually starts in Devil's Crossing. Now, if you just spawn at the Rift, or if you just spawn in town, sometimes you can see this, sometimes you have to get a little bit closer. So there is a totem potentially right there. Usually if you get to here and you don't see it, it doesn't exist. I'll get a little bit closer, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not there. Then we rift over here. And this is the first one I want to check. So usually... So this one here you're going to see pretty much from the rift. This one here you should see from the rift. These two you're going to have to move for. And this one over here, which I know it's not here because it's up there, but... Sorry, this one. For some reason, it doesn't show up here until I'm practically standing on top of it. So this one I usually run over to check, because the other ones in this area tend to show from the rift gate, or they're in an area you're going to have to run to anyway. Or you already know they're not there because you got the Devil's Crossing one. So we got Balrazar, which is a fun name. And here we go. Here's the where is he? Corpse Lick is the Aether one. So when they die, you'll see the goop. Well, maybe you won't see the goop on the ground. All right, there's 96. I'm going to chuck a point into the Hellhound. That's where all of my remaining points are going to go until I respec. This stuff I'm going to leave on the floor, and now I'm going to rift back here. All of these locations for the totems, you can look them up on grimtools.com/map if you are so interested. This is a really good one to run because you get, well, 2 this time. But you can get 6 or 7 Aether Crystals here as well, which is pretty good. Alright, here's my Forsaken Spirit Totem. It could have been down here, or it could have been over here. So 1, 2, 3, and that's Devil's Crossing. You're going to get one of those, and then your second one is going to be either here or here. So two totems in this area as well. Alright, we kill everything to death here. Why do I feel like that's a pet item? It's not, but +2 to Necro is definitely not bad. Okay, Viper Fang Grips. Yeah, no, we're going to leave all that on the floor as well. Okay, so this is the third location. So best spot, in my opinion, is Gloomwald, followed by the Blood Grove. You can run up into the village of Darkvale and you'll have a guaranteed dynamite and a treasure trove. It's always in the village, so you can do that as well. And then the third best place is going to be here. Now we have a couple of places that I actually don't recommend, but you can do if you get bored. Twin Falls. I do not recommend Twin Falls. Now, if you get the close one, which is kind of here, it's actually pretty good. But if you get not the close one, like I'm getting here, so this right here is where it would be. But I didn't get this one. I'm instead going to get either down here or over here. Okay, I definitely don't have that one, so we're going to head over this way. And it should pop up. You know what? I could see it there on the mini-map. Hey, Total Shell, max rank. Yeah, I haven't actually uncovered this, so even though I'm standing very close to this, it doesn't show on this map, so this is why it's important to go and reveal the map to see it there. And now this will show up from much farther away on this map. Alright, so we'll kill this off. Let's turn the loot off so I can see what's going on. Looks like we had a corrupted hero in there. Probably one of the crabs. I am checking the blue items because I do want the belt. But the rest of this, not very good. So yeah, this area don't really recommend unless you're bored and you just want to do something different. There is also, over here in the Colosseum, potentially a Celestial Totem. I recommend avoiding Celestial Totems until you are deliberately trying to farm them. You can do them, you probably will be able to kill them. If you're on softcore, go ahead and give them a shot. If you're playing hardcore, avoid them until your build is done. And then farm them a lot. Next place that I do occasionally farm is the City of Malmouth. Now, there are exactly 2 totems in the entire city, one of which spawns either here, or here, or here. So let's just poke our heads outside, and we'll see which one pops up. Okay, Ancient Aether Warp Totem. This one's Forsaken, this one is just regular. So you definitely want the Ancient, because obviously more stuff to kill. I should have used one of those a while ago. More stuff to kill, and also better loot. I mean, yes, it's harder to kill this stuff, but more loot, more better. Blow the wagons up, even though I finished that quest a long time ago. Right, and I'm just beelining for the totem here. I don't care about these mages. Their hats are no longer important to me. If they drop, then hooray, great, awesome. I'll have a look. But if they don't drop, I kind of don't care. I came back for Olana here. I'm not expecting... Oh, there you go. New hat. Once again, as soon as you decide you don't need something, you will get it. Alright, anyway, we're here for this. Do I have an augment on this, actually? I don't. Let's just go swap this over. We're going to get some extra pet stats for that. Resistances should be pretty much the same. A little bit less Aether damage, more all damage. Extra health for the pets, yeah. And I'm going to lose 1 skill point in Raised Skeletons, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Keep the add-on, chuck that on the helmet, and... oh. Turns out it doesn't matter. So what do we have there? Dominators is a pet prefix, and then of Vitality is going to be health. So this actually works really well. Right. As I was saying, before I was so rudely interrupted by getting a gear upgrade, clicking on the wrong spot. Ancient Aether Warp Totem, definitely what you want. This particular spawn, yeah, has a regular version and a Forsaken version, and then the Ancient, which is the one you want. So let's just go ahead and pop it like it's hot. Everybody's going to die nicely. You do want to have a decent amount of damage for this, because this can quickly get out of hand if things aren't dying. Seems we do indeed have enough damage, although I did lose a Skelly Bro. I'm betting that was one of the peasants. Okay, and we've got nothing. Sigil of the Depraved could be good to keep if you're playing a Vitality build, but not for pets. Alright, so that's one. And then the other one is in the Crown Hill. And fingers crossed I can just see this from here. Yep, there we go. So it can be either here, it can be over here, or it can be here. So 3 spawn locations. I'm actually not sure if there's an ancient one for this one, but... for this one, I tend to just only run this and Twin Falls when I'm kind of bored of the other ones. But I figured I'd show it. Houndmaster's Flesh Warped Archive is good enough. This is actually maybe a little bit too good. I'm looking at this more for the required spirit. This is a level 94 version, which could be good when Fangs of Astrakhan comes out, if you can reroll affixes with any amount of control. That would be really good. But I'm going to leave it for now, because I don't have the spirit to use it. And once I get my conversion rings, or another Lost Souls set, I'm just going to use a crafted or legendary offhand anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Just going to clear some of the chaff, and then we will get to toteming. Okay, once again, I do tend to turn the items off. You can see the red cross through the filter here while I'm fighting stuff, just so as I don't get distracted by the shiny and then die while standing in goop. Stormrend is one of those really fun items. So this is a one-handed axe that lets you use Primal Strike, which requires a two-handed weapon. But if you have Stormrend in one of your hands, then you can use Primal Strike with a one-handed weapon. I have 2 builds that do that at the moment, and I'm going to see if that Stormrend is better than the ones they're already using. Also Edge of Sanity for an Aether Death Knight, also potentially an Aether Reaper, so that's why I'm hanging on to those. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to show for totems is one-shot totems. These are the ones that I tend to do on pet builds if I'm farming, because every time you exit a menu and come back in, you have to resummon your pets. And once you're no longer using the Ascendant Cowl and the Korvax Burning Blade, you're getting 3, maybe 4 at a time. So that's 20 or 30 seconds spent resummoning your pets. So I do these ones to kind of prolong each session and avoid having to resummon as much. And the first one is in the Warden's Cellar. And this one is the notorious Ancient Aether Warped Totem, which definitely kills a lot of people. Where are we? We're down there. Okay. So you can get very unlucky with the hallways where they spawn, and end up having to go all around the world to get to this one. Also, obviously, there's loot in them there hills. So depending on how your walls spawn, this can be a complete trap. You could also come up through this door and run that way, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, let's clear the area. I'm going to turn the loot off now. And then that way I can't forget later and get distracted by the shiny and then end up dead. Alright, they're all toast. Let's pop this. Looks like I've got regular ethereals. You will get either regular ethereals or ethereal vanguard, or it looks like I got a mix here. There we go. I heard 1 legendary. We have the Shoulder Guards of Justice, which I'm using on my Skater. No, not the Skater, it's the Dagalon's Purifier. So I'm going to hang on to those as well. Generally, this is what I do when I'm farming. I just go, oh, I have those on one of my characters. I'll check if they're better, and then I chuck them in the last tab in the shared stash and forget about them. And then one day I'll just go through them. Okay, so that's the first one. Second one is the Warden's Laboratory. There's a totem that spawns either here or here. And you also obviously have the Aether Crystal Farm. There are 14 of these in each game. They're always in the same location, and they always will drop you 14 Aether Crystals of one denomination or another. This is not here, so if I was actually just worried about... actually, you know what? I don't need these. If I'm just here for the totems and I don't care about the Aether Crystals, as soon as I see that it's not here, I rift back and I run over here. You know what? I'm not going to run all the way out there. It is a decent run. So depending on the spawns you get for which one of these 3 doors is the one that's open, you can end up having to go all the way around, and it's... nope. I don't need it that badly. It's here or here. Good luck. The next one is the Rotting Cropland. And this is one that, again, the spawn location, this one, amazing. Ancient Aether Warp Totem, like 2 screens away from a Rift Gate. This is really, really good. It can also spawn just here, which is almost as good. It can spawn here, which is, yeah, it's still decent. Or it can spawn up here, which, no. I usually check the first 3 locations, and if I haven't found it, I move on. I'm not running all the way up to the back end of the Gruesome Harvest, or whatever it's called. This one, however, this is amazing. This is probably the best totem in the game in terms of how far you have to go for an ancient totem. Really, really good. Still getting reputation with the Outcast, which is hilarious. Okay, let's not stand in the goop here. There we go. Everybody's dead or dying. And nothing. Okay, that's fine. So that's the Rotting Croplands. Not the last one, but the next one, I guess, is the Astrakhan Valley. And you can see this one from here. So as soon as you rift in, you'll know it's either here, or it is up here. And this one is decently close, always here, and you can sometimes get some good loot from Ragrathar. I will see if I can find him. He's usually over here. There he is. Ragrathar does occasionally drop something juicy. He will always drop his MI, which no good for us. But there it is. Ring of Steel. Cool. We leave it on the floor because it's not for this build. Let's go ahead and hit the totem here. And then we'll be on our way. Seeing a lot of green on the floor. That's fine. As long as I'm not standing in it. Okay. Really bad drops from this one, but again, it's fine. So after the Astrakhan Valley, the Gates of Necropolis has one. I usually come in here and take a step, and if I don't see it, I leave. So it can be here, it can be here, or it can be up here, and I think there's two spots up here. But if I don't see it from the Rift Gate, I don't bother running. The two spots that we're not close enough to see immediately are too far to run to. Necropolis Interior has 4 locations. One is over here, so if you just take a couple steps and you don't see it, you know it's not here, and then you want to run to the right. When you run to the right, you come across this bridge, up this way, and by the time you're about here, you'll know exactly where it is. It'll be either here, 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 or here. Fortunately, we've got this one. So I'm going to run over here and get this one, and then I'll run through transmuting. Haha! Check the comments, let's see who doubted. Well, actually, I haven't shown it yet, so there's still time. There's still time. And transmuting is actually quite expensive. But did I keep a set item? I did, yes. Hey, 97. Okay. You know what that means? It means we're getting an extra point in... No, it doesn't. Alright, you know what? I'm just going to hang on to that. Okay, here we go. This is our final totem. There are more, obviously. There's a lot that I didn't show that are inside of dungeons. There's a decent number of them in the Forgotten Gods area that I just didn't show. And that's mostly because the Forgotten Gods area is considerably rippier than the base game. And also Ashes of Malmoth. These ones are really, really good in terms of time taken to get to them. So Gloomworld, Sorrow's Bastion / Bloodgrove, and then down here in the Arcovian Foothills. Those would be my 3 recommendations. Throw in some other stuff occasionally just for some variety, but that's what I recommend. Okay, the other thing you can do, and I recommend doing this in conjunction with treasure trove farming, because your treasure troves are going to give you a couple of rare crafting material from each of them. You can get your hands on these things. Celestial Lotus. Now, I farm them occasionally, just stack them up, because these can allow you to transmute sets. So how does that work? Well, firstly, let's go ahead and get rid of all of that. You need to have the quest done, which we did earlier in Forgotten Gods, and then you will have the transmute section here. So you chuck in a purple level 94 base. So we are looking for a level 94 set, the Lost Souls set. That is a legendary set, so we need the purple set. And it must be level 94 as well. You get similar to what you put in. So if you put a blue item, you're going to get a blue item. If you put a low level set, you're going to get a low level set. And then these 2 buttons here, this one will let you turn this into another part of the same set and will cost you an Eldritch Essence here. So you can see it's still death marked. This one, however, costs you a Celestial Lotus, and this turns it into a piece of another random set. So there we go, we've got Harris Shoulder Guards, we've got the June Fiend Mask, we've got the Vestments of Agravix, we've got Olzun's Shoulder Guard. You get the idea. Every time you get a Celestial Lotus from one of the treasure troves, you get a shot to gamble on a different set. That's what I recommend you use your Celestial Lotus for. until you have one character that is fully done and able to farm, at which point use that character to farm a whole bunch of stuff and just hang on to it. So, good ways to farm Celestial Lotus. 1. Treasure troves. 2. Go and kill the messenger, I think his name is, in the Eye of Olzurn. You can also do... what's that dog's name? No, the dog was for Eldritch Essence. Yeah, just him, or you can kill Korvac. There's a few other bosses that drop them. They're usually sort of 10 to 30% chance. Personally, I would recommend just farm totems, and then use the Celestial Lotus to reroll as you get them from treasure troves. Okay, that's going to be the end of this series. So if you've watched this far, one, I question your sanity, but also thank you very much. If you've enjoyed the series, please throw me a like and subscribe, follow, all that sort of stuff. Generally only shill the channel at the end of series, so go ahead and do all the YouTube things. But that is, like I said, going to be the end of this series. So new series starting soon. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one, and goodbye for now.